The shocking story of Winnie LaFunja resurrection. Winnie LaFunja, who was presumed dead and buried 2 years ago after an illness, has now resurfaced in her family home to the shock of her parents and people in the community. This does not sound like reality, right? And if you think this is not real or some fiction or maybe a movie, you are wrong, because this happened in Ndola, Zambia. The same way you seemed surprised was how her family and everyone in that community were shocked. This is a rare occurrence because we don't see the dead brought back to life, not even after 2 years. But was the 17-year-old Winnie LaFunja actually dead? Or is there something we don't know? It will be great if you like and share the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon next to it to get notified when we add new, interesting videos in the future. Now let's get back to the story. When Winnie came back to her family, her parents accepted her back, even though according to Winnie's parents, her body was even viewed in an open casket and there was a church service and funeral, and all before she was buried, which means they were actually sure that she was the one in the coffin. The girl was buried 3 days after her demise on November 12, 2016. They have accepted her back when they were sure she was dead and buried. Everyone who once lost someone would definitely love to have them back, which is why they accepted her back. To them, they saw it as the God of the universe smiling at them and giving their daughter a second chance to live again. So, when she knocked on their door and claimed to be their dead daughter, they saw it as a miracle and welcomed her back with open arms. This resurrected Winnie wasn't so identical to the deceased Winnie. Still, this girl knew almost all that the dead Winnie knew. From the names of her parents, siblings, relatives, even those far away that were not even around when she returned home. Because of all of the things she knew about the family, they were convinced that she was their daughter, even though there wasn't so much physical resemblance. They took her in and began to take care of her. So, where has Winnie been all this while? Was she in the heavens, or was her spirit roaming about? That wasn't the case. She said she was taken to a farm where she was forced to do some hard labor. She said she was not the only one abducted. Many other people were also captured and forced to do the same form of hard work on the farmland. This is weird, because how will someone kidnap or capture whatever you see as young people and make them do hard labor on their farmland? She went further to say that they were all held captive spiritually and they were not themselves, which means they were controlled like robots. They couldn't think properly and tried to escape. So, how was she able to escape and return home? That is something she does not know. But all she knew was that the spiritual force holding bound suddenly stopped manipulating them and everyone was back into their senses. That was how she was able to escape and trace her family home. Winnie said, quote, that she was never dead and it was a banana tree they buried and not her, which shocked everybody in her family. Is she trying to make a fool of her parents and all those that came for her burial? Because how on earth will she say she wasn't buried and it was a banana tree instead? As I said earlier, her parents said her corpse was placed in an open casket and a proper burial was done for her. This got everyone in the community talking. Everyone is undoubtedly confused about what happened. This made authorities immediately order that the grave of Winnie be dug out and find out if a banana tree was buried or the resurrected Winnie statement was false. Guess what they found? After digging out the grave number 73, which was Winnie's grave, bones, a blue blanket, a bottle, and other items that her mother identified were found. This means that Winnie is not telling us something, or what exactly is going on, or she isn't the dead Winnie. For further investigation, remains of LaFunja were examined to determine whether she was indeed the one. A pathologist then extracted skin and hair samples to ascertain if the body inside the coffin was indeed Winnie's. The girl's birth and death certificate were also requested for further investigation. This news became the talk of the town, and television and TV stations began to report it to the general public. Another couple saw Winnie on TV and they rushed down to Ndola, claiming that Winnie was their biological daughter. This is becoming confusing. What's happening exactly? When Winnie was asked if she knew the new couples, she said she had never seen them and knew nothing about them. But this couple still insisted that Winnie was their biological daughter. They claim that she has the exact resemblance as their daughter, and they were so sure she was the one. The girl knows so much about the family of the dead Winnie, including their names and moments spent together, even personal and intimate moments that outsiders do not know. Still, she doesn't have the physical resemblance of the dead girl. On the other hand, the couple claims she is their daughter because of their physical resemblance, but she knows nothing about them, and she even claims that they aren't her parents. That's a dicey situation. So how can they ascertain who is lying and who is actually telling the truth? Thank God for the advancement in technology. If we were in the old days, where there was little or no technology development, this case would have remained a puzzle unsolved and termed, quote-unquote, a mystery. There was no better way to find out the truth than undergoing a DNA test. So, they got the DNA samples of both families and tested that of the girl. DNA never lies. So whoever the result favors is Winnie's parents. So, what was the DNA result? The DNA result showed that the new couples that later showed up were the biological parents of this girl, and she is not the dead Winnie that claimed to have resurrected. You're shocked, right? The unsolved puzzle now is how she knew so much about the dead girl to the extent she claimed she was the one. This looks like a sci-fi movie where we have swapping of memories. This girl went with her family, and to her, feels like starting new because she can't remember anything about them, even their names. We have heard of people losing their memories, maybe due to accidents or some medical issues, but we haven't heard of an exchange of memories whereby I will know so much about you and forget everything about myself. So there you have it, the story of Winnie LaFunja. What did they do to her when she was captured? Was it the spiritual force she was subjected to that changed her memory and made her totally forget everything about her family? Let me know what you think happened in the comment section below. Here's another story. A wolf saved this girl who was tied up in the forest. Wolves are typically recognized as the most deadly creatures in the world. However, our narrative today reveals that occasionally, individuals behave even worse than the most ravenous animal, exhibiting true hatred for someone they previously loved so fiercely. This story is about a young girl named Sophia, whose parents had given her away in marriage to an elderly official in the hopes that the arrangement would benefit the whole family owing to money and connections. No one worried about the girl's happiness, just the effect of her spouse. Sophia was very miserable in her marriage, but she did not dare reject the decision of her parents. So several years passed till one day, the girl fell in love with a man named Andrew. He had recently graduated from university. He was brilliant, young, and gorgeous. He felt the same way about her, and they started covertly dating. After some time, they planned to go away to the Tiger together, where no one would find them, and they could live happily ever after. There, Andrew became a huntsman while Sophia took care of the home. It was the first time she felt joyful in years. One day, Andrew brought home a wolf pup he had discovered in the wild, whose mother had been slain by poachers. Sophia was quite glad to have someone to take care of when Andrew wasn't home, so she kept it as a pet. As time passed, the pup grew into a gorgeous wolf. However, one day he decided he no longer wanted to remain in captivity and went into the forest, never to return. Sophia was frightened for him, but she knew and accepted the truth that the forest was where he actually belonged, not in a confined house. Andrew and Sophia lived in a perfect harmony and even began to forget about their history. But their history would not forget them. One day, while Andrew was gone on a 3-day hunt and Sophia was home alone, someone knocked on their door. When she opened it, she saw her ex-husband, and then she felt a tremendous ache, followed by emptiness. The girl woke up in the midst of the wilderness. Very immediately, she understood that her hands and feet were bound, and it was futile to scream since no one would hear her in the woods. Sophia lay there silently sobbing till all her power had vanished and she lost consciousness. She awakened up from hot breath right close to her face. Opening her eyes, she saw that a wolf was nearby. Sophia accepted her fate. This was the end. She closed her eyes and prepared for the onslaught, but the beast behaved quite oddly. He stepped around the girl from behind and very gently started biting through the ropes on her hands. She could not believe what was occurring. Having released her wrists, the wolf sat down next to her and waited till the girl was able to remove her legs from the ropes on her own. Her body was really tight from not moving, and it took Sophia a while to fully recover and be able to move freely. When she was able to rise up, she gazed at the wolf, and only now, through her tears, did she identify the wolf she had taken in as a puppy. The wolf waited for a little longer and then withdrew into the depths of the woodland. Sophia walked all night before she eventually found her way home. There, she changed her clothing and proceeded to the hamlet to apply to her ex-husband and left her there to be eaten by wild creatures. However, the accusation could not reach him since a few days later, the body of Sophia's ex-husband was recovered in the forest. The findings of the inspection proved that it had been ripped apart by a wild beast, possibly a wolf. After her ex-husband's death, Sophia and Andrew were finally able to legalize their relationship, but they had no desire to return to the city. They bought a house in the village, Andrew kept working in the tiger, and they had 3 boys together. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you, and see you on the next one. Bye.